Dr. Annett is a research associate professor at Kansas State University and the University of Alaska at Anchorage. She's also a Google Earth Outreach trainer, has been with us for a number of years, and has spent the last 2 working with the Kaw Nation Cultural Committee, and also as with a group of volunteers and volunteer scholars at the Kanza Language and Landscape Project. So please welcome Dr. Annett.
Our story is our map. We are following a large organization. We're actually not an organization. This is a completely volunteer effort. And one of the wonderful things about Google is a small group with no money can have a large voice. And that's so exciting to us because it allows a story of something that's invisible to become visible. Now, if you lived in Kansas, you would know a few things. You would know, for example, that Kansas means something about the wind. The name means something about the wind, and there was once a people who lived in Kansas that Kansas was named after. And that's about as far as most people know about the name. But the Kaw Nation actually still exists. It's a very, very small tribe, and they live in Oklahoma. They no longer live in Kansas. In the 1800s, they were forced out of Kansas from their homeland along the Kansas River, down the Neosho River, and into a very small parcel of land in Oklahoma, which was then flooded by a reservoir. So they're a tiny little piece of land, and they're now a tribe of about 300 tribal members. But they've spent the last 40 years revitalizing their culture, recording the last living speakers of their language who have since passed away, and developing a dictionary. So they just published a dictionary of their language, and to coincide with that, this volunteer group of scholars and tribal members and elders came together and have spent the last 2 years remaking the map of Kansas in their own language, which is trickier than most people realize because it's not just a matter of transliterating the names, but actually looking up what the names might have been. And when there are no fluent speakers left, that means going back through the archives, working with archaeologists, working with anthropologists, working with historians, interviewing elders, and trying to figure out what the most appropriate names are. So our tour builder is of the Kansas River Valley as the Kanza may have known it. One of the reasons why the tribe wanted to do this is because they're trying to get the young people interested in taking language classes. And if you're going to take language classes and you're going to work at it, it has to be cool, it has to be sexy, it has to appeal to the kids, and it has to use technology. So we developed this tour builder. We were so thrilled when Sean released it last year to allow people to show the tour. You know, those of us who do a lot of this, when you're flying a Google Earth tour, it's kind of nerve-wracking, especially in front of a large group. Tour Builder allows us to actually pre-program it so that anybody who wants to show this in front of a class can do it very easily because the Google Earth actually moves for you and you don't have to worry about it. So a couple of wonderful things about Tour Builder is while it's moving the Google Earth map, you're also able to show video and you're able to show slides. In this case, we recorded Dr. Bob Rankin, who recently passed away, who was one of the people who spearheaded the dictionary project. He was able to see the dictionary published. He had this vision. You know, he was an older professor who never looked at a computer except for email. And he came to us 2 years ago with this vision of having a map that you could zoom into. And I said, yeah, we have Google Earth, and now we have the tour builder. And we were able to record him pronouncing the names. So,
Nishojetanga. Nishojetanga.
So you can zoom into the different areas and hear the names. We're hoping to add to this video of the children from the language class actually standing in the places and having the children's voices. But for now, we have Dr. Rankin showing the orthography that was recently developed and pronouncing the names.
Okichesonga. Okichesonga. Enemy's younger brother, or strange.
which is just wonderful. And working with archaeologists from K-State and anthropologists from KU and the Tribal Cultural Committee, we were able to come up with the story of the names. Now, for people who work with tribes and work with indigenous peoples, you know that a lot of the contemporary names are actually names that the colonists gave. Even if they're written in supposedly the tribe's language, oftentimes they're the names that the colonists gave, not the names that the tribe actually originally used. And so we have an explanation of how we came up with the particular name that we're using and trying to unearth that hidden history. Very few people in Kansas know that the Kaw are still alive and healthy, and very few of them know the history of their state. And so it was really wonderful to be able to work with this program and through the gallery to actually release it publicly and allow schools and people all around Kansas and around the world to see the Kaw Nation. Thank you very much.